My name is Mia. I am 26 years old, and this is my story. The church was full of people, so many faces, family, friends. They all looked at me. They all smiled. The church was beautiful. White flowers were everywhere, on the benches, near the altar. They smelled so sweet. The sun was shining through the big glass windows. It made everything look bright and warm. It looked like a perfect day. A happy day. My dress was perfect too. It was long and white. It was made of soft, beautiful lace. My mother cried when I first tried it on. She said I looked like a princess. My hair was done. My makeup was done. I held a bouquet of white roses in my hands. They trembled a little. From the outside, I looked like the perfect bride. Happy, excited, ready to start my new life. My father stood beside me. He held my arm. He looked so proud. His eyes were shiny with tears. He squeezed my arm gently. "Are you ready, my little girl?" he whispered. I looked at him. I tried to smile, but my lips felt stiff. My heart was beating so fast. It felt like a drum inside my chest. A loud, scary drum. Boom, boom, boom. At the end of the long aisle, Alex was waiting. My fiancé. He looked handsome in his black suit. He was smiling. A big, confident smile. Everyone loved Alex. My parents loved him. My friends loved him. They all said he was perfect for me. He was smart. He was successful. He was charming. He was everything a girl could want. Everyone said I was so lucky. So lucky. I looked at Alex standing there smiling. He looked like the man from a movie, the perfect groom. But when I looked at him, I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel excitement. I felt nothing. A cold, empty space in my chest. And under that emptiness, there was another feeling. A small voice. It was screaming one word. No, my dress was perfect. The flowers were perfect. The man was perfect. But my heart screamed no. I tried to ignore the voice. I had been ignoring it for months. I told myself it was just nerves. Cold feet. Every bride gets nervous. My mother told me that. "It's a big step, Mia," she said. "It's normal to be scared." So I smiled and nodded. I pretended she was right. I pretended it was just nerves. But it wasn't. Deep down, I knew it was something more. Something was wrong, very wrong. My father started walking. He was leading me down the aisle, towards Alex, towards my future. Every step felt heavy, like I was walking through deep mud. My beautiful white shoes felt like blocks of stone. The happy music played. Everyone smiled at me. I tried to smile back. I looked at my mother in the front row. She was crying happy tears. She gave me a little wave. I felt a wave of guilt. How could I disappoint her? How could I disappoint everyone? So I kept walking, step by step, closer and closer to Alex, closer to a life that didn't feel like mine. I remembered the day I met Alex. It was 2 years ago, at my friend Sarah's party. I was shy then. I usually stood in the corner at parties. I watched other people talk and laugh. But that night, Alex came to me. He had a kind smile. He asked me my name. He asked me about my job. I worked in a small bookstore. I loved books. He seemed interested. He listened. He really listened. He made me feel seen. He was so easy to talk to. He was funny. He made me laugh. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel shy. I felt comfortable. I felt special. He asked for my phone number at the end of the night. I gave it to him. My heart was fluttering. The next day, he called. We went out for coffee, then dinner, then more dates. He was very romantic in the beginning. He brought me flowers. He wrote me little notes. He told me I was beautiful. He made big plans for us. He talked about the future. Traveling, a nice house, a family. It all sounded wonderful, like a fairy tale. I had never had a serious boyfriend before. I was swept away. I thought I was in love. My family met him after a few months. They adored him. My father was very impressed. Alex had a good job in finance. He was ambitious. He's a good man, Mia, my father said. He will take good care of you. My mother loved his charm. He's so polite, so handsome, she said. You two make a perfect couple. Hearing them say that made me so happy. I felt like I was doing something right. I was making them proud. After a year, he proposed. We were at a fancy restaurant. He got down on one knee. He had a beautiful ring, a big diamond that sparkled under the lights. He gave a beautiful speech about our future, about how he couldn't live without me. Everyone in the restaurant clapped. I cried. I said yes. Of course, I said yes. It was the perfect proposal, the perfect moment. I called my parents right away. They were ecstatic. Everything was perfect. But then, slowly, things started to change. Or maybe they didn't change. Maybe I just started to see them clearly. The little things, the small moments that felt off. I remember one night, we were at a different restaurant. It was a busy night. The waiter was a young man. He looked tired. He accidentally spilled a little water on the table while pouring our glasses. It was a small mistake, not a big deal, but Alex became very angry. His face changed. Are you stupid? He said to the waiter. His voice was cold and sharp. Be more careful. Some people are just incompetent. The young waiter looked shocked. His face turned red. He apologized again and again. I felt terrible. I looked at Alex. It was just an accident, I whispered. Alex looked at me. His eyes were hard. I don't pay for bad service, Mia. People need to learn to do their jobs properly. He dismissed my feelings. He dismissed the waiter's feelings. The rest of the dinner was quiet. I couldn't eat. The food tasted like ash in my mouth. I saw a side of Alex I hadn't seen before. A cruel side. When we left, I tried to talk to him about it. He just shrugged. Don't be so sensitive, Mia, he said. It's not a big deal. But to me, it was. Kindness was a big deal. Respect was a big deal. Another time, we went to his parents' house for dinner. I was nervous. I wanted them to like me. His mother, Alina, was a very elegant woman. She looked me up and down when we arrived. She didn't smile. She just nodded. "Mia," she said. Her voice was as cold as her eyes. His father was quiet. He just sat in his big chair and read the newspaper. Dinner was uncomfortable. Alina asked me a lot of questions about my job at the bookstore. "A bookstore," she said. She sounded disappointed. "That's a cute little job, I suppose. But what are your real plans?" She didn't wait for my answer. She turned to Alex. "Alex, you need a wife who can support your career. Someone who can host important dinners. Someone with ambition." Alex just laughed. He didn't defend me. He didn't say that he loved my job. He just said, "Don't worry, Mother. I'll train her." He said it like a joke, but it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like a punch in the stomach. I felt so small, so unimportant. After that night, Alina started calling me more. She gave me advice on how to dress. "You should wear more classic colors, Mia. Not so many bright patterns. It looks childish." Advice on how to cook. "Alex loves a good roast. You must learn my recipe. It's the only one he likes." Advice on my career. "You should think about leaving that little bookstore. Maybe you could do some charity work. It would look good on you." It wasn't advice. It was criticism. She was trying to change me, to mold me into the perfect wife for her son. And Alex, he let her, he agreed with her. "She's just trying to help Mia," he would say. "She just wants the best for us." But what about what I wanted? Did that matter? I have a small dream. It's not a big, ambitious dream. I want to have a small pottery studio, a little room with a wheel and clay. I want to make bowls and mugs with my own hands. I love the idea of creating something beautiful from a lump of earth. I told Alex about my dream one evening. I was so excited to share it with him. I thought he would be supportive. He looked at me and laughed. Not a kind laugh, a dismissive laugh. "Pottery, Mia, that's a messy, silly hobby. You don't have time for that. We need to focus on our future, on my career, on buying a bigger house." My small dream felt silly and stupid after he said that. He didn't ask why I wanted to do it. He didn't see the light in my eyes when I talked about it. He just saw something that was not part of his plan. My dreams were not in his plan. Then came the wedding planning. I thought it would be fun, a time for us to make decisions together. I was wrong. It became the Alex and Alina show. They chose the venue, a big, expensive country club. I wanted a small, simple wedding in a garden. "No, Mia," Alina said. "A wedding is a statement. We have to invite a lot of important people for Alex's career." Alex agreed. They chose the guest list. It was full of his parents' friends and his business colleagues. I only had 2 tables for my family and friends. They chose the food. They chose the band. I tried to have an opinion. I really did. I wanted a simple cake, a carrot cake, my favorite. Alina wanted a huge, 5-tier white cake with elaborate sugar flowers. Carrot cake is for birthday parties, Mia, not for an elegant wedding, she said. I looked at Alex for support. He just shrugged. The white cake does look better, Mia. Let's just go with that. It's easier. It was always about what was easier for him, not what made me happy. My one small victory was my dress. I went shopping with my mother and my friend Sarah. I found the dress, the one I was wearing now. It was beautiful. But when I showed a picture to Alina, she said, "It's nice. But the neckline is a bit plain, isn't it?" I didn't care. I bought the dress I loved. It was the only part of the wedding that felt like me. And now, even it felt like a costume. A costume for a part I didn't want to play. A few weeks before the wedding, I tried to talk to my own mother. I felt so lost, so alone. We were having tea in her kitchen. "Mom," I said, my voice shaking, "I'm not sure about this, about marrying Alex." My mother stopped stirring her tea. She looked at me. Her face was a mix of surprise and worry. "What do you mean, you're not sure?" "Mia, the wedding is in 3 weeks. What is wrong?" I tried to explain. I told her about how Alex and his mother made all the decisions. I told her about how he dismissed my feelings, about how I felt like I was disappearing. "He's just a strong man, Mia," my mother said. "He knows what he wants. That's a good thing. And Alina is just trying to help. You're just getting cold feet. All brides get nervous. You love Alex. Don't throw away a wonderful future because of some silly nerves." She didn't understand. She didn't want to understand. She saw the perfect man, the perfect future. She didn't see my sadness. She didn't hear my screaming heart. I left her house feeling more alone than ever. No one saw what I saw. No one felt what I felt. Was I crazy? Was I wrong? I started to doubt myself. Maybe they were all right. Maybe it was just nerves. So I pushed the feelings down. I smiled. I pretended. I went to the bridal shower. I smiled as I opened gifts for a kitchen I would never enjoy cooking in. I went to the rehearsals. I practiced walking down the aisle. I practiced saying the words. "I do." The words felt like stones in my mouth. Which brings me back to today, the wedding day. Standing at the back of the church, walking down the aisle, my father on my arm, Alex at the altar, and the voice inside me, no longer a whisper. It was a roar, a hurricane. "No, no, no." We reached the front of the church. My father kissed my cheek. He placed my hand in Alex's hand. Alex's hand was cool. He smiled at me. "You look beautiful," he whispered. I looked into his eyes, and for the first time, I saw him clearly. I didn't see the charming man from the party. I saw the man who was cruel to the waiter. I saw the man who let his mother control our lives. I saw the man who laughed at my dreams. I saw a stranger, and I saw my future in his eyes, a future of silence, a future of being small, a future of being a beautiful accessory for his perfect life, a future where Mia didn't exist anymore. The priest began to speak. His voice was calm and steady. He talked about love, about partnership, about respect. The words felt empty. I wasn't feeling love. I wasn't a partner. I was not respected. I was an employee, hired for a role. The role of Mrs. Alex Covington. The priest turned to Alex. Do you, Alex, take Mia to be your wife? To have and to hold in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, to love and to cherish, until death do you part. Alex's voice was strong and clear. I do. He said it without hesitation. He squeezed my hand. He smiled at me, a confident, possessive smile. Then the priest turned to me. The whole church was silent. Everyone was looking at me, waiting. And do you, Mia, take Alex to be your husband? To have and to hold in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer, to love and to cherish, until death do you part. This was it, the moment of truth. My whole life felt like it was leading to this one question, to this one answer. I could say yes. I could make everyone happy. I could live the perfect life. I could be safe, secure, and empty. So empty. Or I could say no. I could break everyone's heart. I could face their anger, their disappointment. I could face an uncertain future. I could be alone, scared, but I could be free. I could be me. I looked at my mother. Her face was full of hope. I looked at my father. His face was full of pride. I looked at Alex. His face was full of expectation. And then I looked inside myself. I listened to my heart. For the first time, I truly listened. The screaming had stopped. It was replaced by a quiet, strong, clear voice. It said, "Choose yourself." I took a deep breath. I let go of Alex's hand. He looked at me, confused. His smile faded. "Mia," he whispered. I turned to the priest. My voice was quiet, but everyone could hear it in the silent church. "I'm sorry," I said. I can't do this." A gasp went through the crowd, like a wind rushing through the pews. Alex's face turned from confusion to anger. "Mia, what are you doing?" he hissed. "Don't do this. Don't embarrass me. Embarrass him." That's what he was worried about. Not me, not my feelings, not our future, his image, his pride. And in that moment, I knew with absolute certainty that I was making the right decision. I looked at him, really looked at him. There were no tears in my eyes, just a strange calmness. "I can't marry a man who doesn't see me," I said softly, for only him to hear. "I can't marry a man who doesn't respect my dreams, no matter how small. I can't marry a man I'm not in love with." Then I turned. I didn't look at my mother or my father. It was too painful. I just turned and started to walk, back up the aisle, away from Alex, away from the perfect life that was a perfect cage. People stared. Their mouths were open. They whispered. I could hear them. What is she doing? Did she just say no? I kept my eyes focused on the big doors at the back of the church. Each step felt lighter than the one before. I was walking away from the mud, away from the heavy stones. I reached the doors. I pushed them open. The bright sunlight hit my face. I took a deep, shuddering breath of fresh air. It felt like the first real breath I had taken in 2 years. I walked down the stone steps of the church. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I had to keep walking. The aftermath was hard. Very hard. My mother cried for a week. She was angry. She was embarrassed. "How could you do this to us, Mia? To Alex? You ruined everything," she shouted. My father was quiet. He was disappointed. I could see it in his eyes. It broke my heart to see that look. But I knew I couldn't live a lie to make them happy. Alex tried to call me many times. He sent angry text messages. He called me selfish. He called me crazy. He never once asked why I was unhappy. He never once said he was sorry. After a while, he stopped calling. His mother sent one long, cold email. She said I was a disgrace. I deleted it without reading it all. I moved out of the small apartment Alex and I had shared. I found a tiny little room to rent. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I kept my job at the bookstore. It was quiet there. It was safe. My colleagues were kind. They didn't ask too many questions. The first few months were lonely. I cried a lot. I felt guilty. I wondered if I had made a huge mistake. I had hurt so many people. But then, a little voice inside would remind me. The quiet, calm voice. "You chose yourself," it would say. "You saved yourself." Slowly, very slowly, I started to heal. I started to rediscover Mia. The real Mia. The girl who had been lost for so long. One day, I saw a flyer for a pottery class, just like the one I had dreamed of. My heart gave a little jump. I was scared, but I signed up. My first class was amazing. My hands were covered in wet, cool clay. I was clumsy. My first bowl was lopsided and ugly, but I loved it. I had made it with my own hands. I felt a joy so pure, so simple. A joy I hadn't felt in years. I kept going to the class. I got better. I filled my tiny room with my lopsided, imperfect, beautiful creations. They were a reminder that it's okay not to be perfect, that there is beauty in imperfection. I started to see my friends again, my real friends, like Sarah. She had been angry at first for not telling her how I felt, but she understood. She listened. She hugged me. "I'm proud of you, Mia," she said. That was the bravest thing I have ever seen. Her words meant so much to me. My relationship with my parents is still difficult, but it's getting better. Slowly. My mother is starting to understand. I think she sees that I am happier now. Genuinely happy. Not just pretending. My father and I started taking walks on Sundays. We don't talk about the wedding. We talk about books, about the weather, about my pottery. He even said my bowls were interesting. For my father, that is a big compliment. I don't know what my future holds. I don't have a big house or a fancy car. I don't have a perfect man. But I have myself. I have my little room, my books, my clay. I have my own thoughts, my own dreams, my own voice. And that is worth more than anything. Leaving on my wedding day was the hardest, most terrifying, and best decision of my life. I learned that true love isn't about finding the perfect person. It's about not losing yourself. It's about being seen and heard and respected. And I learned that you must love yourself first. You must be brave enough to listen to your own heart, even if its voice is quiet. Even if the whole world is telling you to ignore it. If you are listening to this, and maybe you feel lost or unheard, maybe you feel trapped in a life that doesn't feel like your own, please know that you are not alone. It is okay to be scared, but it is not okay to disappear. Your voice matters. Your dreams matter. You matter. Don't be afraid to say no to the wrong story, so you can say yes to your own. It might be the hardest thing you ever do, but it will also be the most important. You can do this too. Keep going. Find your voice. Choose yourself.